Hey everyone, welcome. Are you sick of hearing about foreign wars that we have no skin in? Being constantly pushed as if we don't fix it, it'll be on our doorstep even though it's on the other side of the world. None more so than Gaza and Israel. Now, you all know my opinion. I couldn't give a toss about either. They're not my country. I don't want a war with either. And it's not just me. Other nations around that entire area feel exactly the same.
The core is rotten, and I can behold the tide.
Now this is the border between Egypt and Gaza. Look at the level of security. That's 7 layers of walls, fences, razor wire, just to make sure not one single Palestinian could flee into Egypt. Now you're probably wondering, what do they know that our government seem to ignore? So I thought I'd have a rundown of it. Again, I've done this before obviously, but I'll do it again. Palestinians, if you didn't know, are known to harbour militants and for creating and fostering instability in other nations. Egypt is unwilling to risk allowing extremists to enter its territory and further destabilise the volatile Sinai Peninsula. Now this is the Sisi of Egypt himself saying any transfer of Palestinians to Sinai would mean that we move the idea of resistance of combat from the Gaza Strip to Sinai, and so Sinai would become the base for launching operations against Israel. So they're basically saying if they let any Palestinians in, they would immediately use Egypt as a base of operations to attack Israel, and Israel would attack Egypt in response. But let's continue. Palestinians have been housed multiple times in Arab countries, if you didn't know, frequently bringing political disputes, security issues and social tensions with them. Egypt has no interest in repeating past mistakes by allowing them to settle within its border. Now, you're probably wondering what mistakes? Well, in the past, they let Palestinians in Egypt, and nearly 20 years after they did, they murdered the president and were subsequently evicted. So it's got previous history. Egypt views the Palestinian plight as largely self-inflicted, stemming from their leadership's chronic failures and internal conflicts. Accepting refugees in Egypt's view would only perpetuate this cycle of irresponsibility, enabling poor governance while absolving Palestinian leaders of accountability. These leaders are all over Dubai, London, etc. They're not actually helping to fight. They're just milking it while the people fight and die. Moreover, Egypt has its own issues to contend with. They can't afford to take on a group that will exacerbate crime and poverty, placing further strain on diminishing resources. For Egypt, national interest and security takes precedent. Wouldn't it be great if our nation's national security and national interest took precedence? Ultimately, the Palestinian predicament is a consequence of their own actions. It's not Egypt's responsibility to intervene, they think, especially when Palestinians have repeatedly rejected peace deals and squandered opportunities for progress. Egypt's position, according to Egypt, reflects a refusal to reward what some consider a history of mismanagement, prioritising its own security and stability over the ongoing Palestinian predicament. So there you go, everyone. Pretty much the reason for their entire defence system is because they've got prior knowledge of Palestinians and they don't want any. Now, don't let it stop there. I did say around, this is Jordan's leader saying exactly the same things.
No refugees in Jordan, no refugees in Egypt. That is a red line, because I think that is the plan by certain of the usual suspects to try and create de facto issues on the ground. This is a situation of humanitarian dimension that has to be dealt inside of Gaza and the West Bank, and not to try and push the Palestinian challenge and their future onto other people's shoulders.
Wouldn't it be great if we had the same sort of thing? Now, bearing in mind, our MPs are already pushing for a humanitarian corridor all the way to Britain for Palestinians. Now, what did they say? Palestinians, when they come to your land, try and use your land as a base of operations to attack Israel. And yet, here we are opening the doors, whilst their own people refuse. Let me know what you think. I'd like to know your opinion, everyone. Stay sane. I'll see you on the next one.